Conference with Mason Mount. As ever, we'll take a mix of questions in the room and those joining us on Zoom. We'll start in the room with Jess Creighton from Sky Sports News.
Hi Mason, good to talk to you. It must have been such an exciting couple of weeks for you being in the Champions League final and now here at your first major tournament. Life doesn't get much better for a 22-year-old, does it?
No, it's going well. Obviously the last couple of weeks have been a bit of a roller coaster. Obviously celebrating with the club football, and now the focus after that finish was straight on where we are now on the Euros and our first game. So it's been very good. I've obviously been loving it, and now very excited for Sunday.
So you've made 16 appearances for England, 10 of those have been starts. So do you feel like now you've become more of an integral part of this England side? Do you feel like one of the players more likely to start a game?
No, I never take that for granted. That you're playing for your country, you have to give it everything and show you can step up when the moment's there. In training, we've all been working so hard and getting ready for the game, and you never know what can happen. So, we're all ready and obviously raring to go.
Considering how much talk there's been about the lineup for Sunday, the midfield in particular, we don't know yet whether Gareth Southgate's going to go with a 2 in midfield or a 3 in midfield. Considering how versatile you are as a player, how does your role change if you line up in a 2 or you line up in a 3 in midfield?
Yeah, we've obviously played different formations, and going through the ages, I've played in different positions. When you're in a 2, you're a bit more defensive minded. In a 3, you can maybe go a bit more attacking and try to get in the box and help the front three. So we don't know yet, so we're obviously excited, and formation wise I can be versatile, so it's a positive.
We've seen lots of entertaining footage coming out of the camp, the players enjoying Call of Duty, enjoying table tennis, basketball, all those kinds of things. It seems like there's a great team spirit. When do you think it will hit you that you're at a major tournament for the first time, maybe when you're on the coach to Wembley, there's going to be 22,000 fans. When do you pull on your game face?
The game face has been on from the first day we met up. We know where we are. We know how important these games are, and especially at a tournament, the first game is probably most important to get off to a good start. So we're ready for it. Obviously, when you're in the camp with the boys, you have fun, you bond together. As you said, we're very close as a group, and that's obviously a massive part in doing well and going far in tournaments. So we are close, and we know the where we are right now and how important that first game is.
Thanks, Jess.
Thank you.
We'll now go online to Jerry Cox from Haters.
Hi Mason, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Good. Yeah. We spoke to Reece yesterday, and he was talking about coming through the Chelsea academy, growing up from the age of 8 and 9 with you, and obviously Declan's in the mix as well, isn't he, Declan Rice? What's it like to be sort of coming from being a young boy playing with these lads to go into the Champions League final and now playing for England in a major tournament? Do you have to pinch yourself sometimes?
Yeah, you do. I think especially me, myself, I don't give myself time to kind of look back at what's happened or kind of stay in the moment, what's going on now. I always try to look forward and not get stuck in the moment. I always obviously try to enjoy it, but the journey that we've been on is unbelievable. Where we are right now, we're all so excited and obviously looking forward to what's coming up. For us to come through together and be here now is special, and it's something that we do talk about now and again. Yeah.
And you're a very young group. Do you think that's a good thing? We hear pundits talking about playing without fear when you're young. Do you think that's good for England, that you are a fairly young group?
Yeah, it's something that we talk about, that fearlessness, going into games, that desire to want to win, and as that we have this young group, we're hungry to do well and to make the nation proud. So going into every game, we're going to be ready and trying to perform to the best of our ability.
Thanks, Jerry. We'll go back in the room with Carrie Brown from beIN Sports.
Hi, Mason. How are you?
Okay, I'm good, thank you.
Good. Into your first major tournament against a player who was ultimately one of your heroes as a youngster, Luka Modric. You went up against him, of course, Chelsea, Real Madrid. What did you learn from that occasion and from him?
Yeah, he's always been a player that I've looked up to. Ever since he was in the Premier League playing for Tottenham, I watched him quite closely as a kid. And then obviously playing against him, it was weird because I've watched him so much growing up. I kind of knew his kind of moves and what he was going to do. So it helps being a fan of a player and then play against him because you know what he likes to do. But yeah, it was the experience of that game. Obviously helps a lot. You, as a young player, you want to play in these big games and kind of learn how to handle the pressure and handle the big moment. And them two games were massive, obviously, in our run, and I gained a lot of experience from them two games.
Game respects game. He came and spoke to you at Stamford Bridge after the match. What exactly did he say?
He said, because I spoke to Kovacic before the first game and asked if I could get his shirt at a later date. I managed to do that, and then he asked for mine in the second game because I didn't actually give him mine in the first. So I think Kova said he likes to swap with players and get their shirts as well. So yeah, he come up to me and said he wanted mine, and just said good luck in the upcoming games. So yeah, it was brilliant for me, obviously, to speak to him, and he wanted my shirt, so I was quite overwhelmed. Yeah.
What did that feel like to the kid that had watched the clips of him?
Yeah,
Where's
it was
the
special.
shirt?
It was special. Yeah, it's at home. I've got it at home, along with a couple others I've got over the last couple months or so. So yeah, it's always good to keep them special shirts.
And you beat him to win the Champions League. The one thing that I noticed so much about that performance in Porto was how much every single one of you, no nerves, complete forward drive all the way to the very moment, and the way you all lift each other, even when you were taken off and gutted to be, and kept pushing. How much have you all taken from what was an emphatic performance? How much have you grown from that, do you think?
Yeah, I think if you win any competition, you gain confidence from it. Winning the Champions League, obviously one of the biggest in club football, it means a lot to all of us. So you do gain a lot of confidence. And then from that, I knew what we was going into. We were going into a Euros, so we won it at a good time, and it helps to carry on that confidence coming up to the first games, and yeah, looking forward to it.
You are, of course, Chelsea boy, big fan. Jose Mourinho saying you're absolutely in his starting lineup. What does that mean to hear from the special one, and how much does Gareth Southgate rate in your great coaches that you've worked with?
Yeah, it means a lot. I've said before, I try not to look too much into what goes on away from the football pitch, but obviously from him, a legend in the game, so it means a lot coming from him. But most importantly is what we do in the training ground, what we're working on, and what the gaffer thinks. So yeah, we're working hard and I'm ready to go.
Thanks, Kerry. Next we'll go online with James Savundra from TalkSport.
Mason, Jose also spoke today and said that you've got an incredible football brain. What do you put that footballing intelligence down to?
I'd probably say the Chelsea Academy. Obviously, I've grown up from joining them at a very young age, and the way they work has helped me grow to the player I'm now and moulded me into the player I'm now. So that helps a lot. But I think naturally I love football. Any chance I get to watch games or learn anything about how I can do better or better myself, then I would do that. So that also helps, and to be fully focused on improving all the time, being the best you can be. That's something that I always want to do.
A lot of people have spoken about the influence that Frank Lampard has had on your career. Just how significant has that influence been, and have you been able to keep that relationship going since he left Chelsea earlier this year?
Yeah, he's had a massive influence. Obviously, the faith he put in me to bring me to Derby first of all, and to play me, and that valuable experience I gained in the Championship really helped me. And then obviously going back to Chelsea and the faith he's shown in me then to play me, even through the tough times, to really stick with me, it gave me a lot of confidence. And yeah, we will always stay in contact. I message him now and again. He's obviously a busy man, so yeah, we stay in contact, we message, and yeah, he's obviously, the amount of support he's given me has really helped me improve as a player and as a person on and off the pitch. I spoke a bit about that before, and yeah, all thanks to him.
Thanks, James. Next, we'll go to Nat Perks from BBC.
Hi. You mentioned there that even through the tough times he stuck with you. Do you feel like where you are now is vindication for all those people that believed in you and maybe some pundits and some fans didn't?
Yeah, I think I spoke a bit about it just then. I don't really try to look too much into what happens away, if it's good or bad. I feel like it's not going to improve you on the pitch. What I like to focus on is the people that really mean a lot on the pitch and help me grow as a player. That's always something I've tried to do, and obviously I'm very confident in my ability and what I can do. So yeah, that's the most important thing for me.
It's been a really long and grueling season for you guys. I think you've played more minutes than most. Yeah. Is fatigue going to be an issue, do you think, for this squad?
I think the Champions League was my 64th game this season, so quite a few. But no, we're a young squad. We've played a lot of football, some of us, but I think when you're coming into a major tournament, playing for your country, all that goes out the window. That tiredness in the legs, the long season, you don't really worry about that. All you're worrying about is doing well, is going far in the tournament, and performing to the best of your ability. And as I said before, making the nation proud, watching at home, and everyone getting together and supporting us. That's the most important thing.
And they've all got the barbecues planned for Sunday. It's going to be an absolute scorcher, but they're not the ones that have to go and play in it.
Yeah.
28 degrees at Wembley at 2 o'clock on
Yeah.
Sunday. Have you done anything to mitigate that? Is there anything different that you've done to prepare for that kind of heat, or have you just got to suck it up?
Yeah, we spoke a little bit about it. Look, we all have little things we can do to help it, but when you're playing football and it's the heat of the moment, literally in the game, the pressure's on, you've got to kind of put that at the back of your mind. So obviously it's going to be tough at 2 o'clock. It's going to be a tough game, but we're ready, and I think a lot of the boys have had experience in the past of dealing with this, playing in heat or any other circumstance. We're ready, and yeah, I don't think that will play a big part in the game.
And just finally, England's record in the Euros isn't brilliant, but in Russia, Gareth said you're going to make your own history. So tell us how this time for England is going to be different.
Yeah, and obviously knowing in the history we've never won a Euros before. So for us, we're a team that's very hungry to want to do that. We want to create history that no one has ever done before, and I feel like with this group, with this young group, we can definitely do that, and we know what we can do. We know the level of players we have in this group and how together we are, and how hungry we are to create history. So we just got to go and perform on the pitch now. Thank you.
Thanks, Nat. Back online with John McGarry from the Scottish Daily Mail.
Hi Mason, forgive me just for looking ahead just for a little minute, if you don't mind. Perhaps a week tonight you could be facing your Chelsea teammate Billy Gilmour at Wembley. How does that prospect sit with you, and how impressed have you been with the impression that Billy's made in the last little while at the club?
Yeah, it's Billy's birthday today, so I'd like to say happy birthday to him. He'll probably see this. I've spoken to him already, but yeah, he's a brilliant player. I've known him for a long time. When he first joined Chelsea, I think I met him when he first joined, and then I went out on loan, and he was playing in the youth teams. But I always tried to keep an eye on him and what he was doing, because a young midfielder coming through that I heard a lot about. I was always interested in his development, and obviously seeing him making a step up into the first team and how well he's been doing. It's been brilliant to see, and I'm very close with him, along with Chile as well. We're close, and he's doing really well, and obviously looking forward to playing against him.
Thanks, John. Next we'll go to Marcello Courage from TV Globo. Sorry, Marcello, you're still on mute, I think. No, sound issue there. We'll just briefly move on to Nizar Kinsella from Goal, and we'll come back to you, Marcello.
Hi Mason, how's it going?
Hi, Nizar.
I just wanted to ask you, at the last tournament, one of the problems maybe for England was a lack of creativity or ability to keep the ball under pressure. Are you confident that this England group can do both of those things in big matches, keep the ball, create, and cause problems?
Yeah, I think if you look at the amount of talent going forward we have in the group, it kind of speaks for itself. We've got players that can handle the ball, keep the ball, play possession football, create chances, and be a threat going forward. So that's something that we're obviously always trying to work on to perfect that. It's never going to be 100% perfection. You know that in a game, there's going to be times when things don't click at times, but with the players we have and what we've been working on in training, and I have full hope that it's going to work, and we're going to play together, and it's going to connect when the game comes around. So that's what obviously we're focused on, and hopefully that happens.
Thanks, Nizar. We'll try Marcello once more to see if his sound issues have been resolved. Marcello, are you there? No, sorry, Marcello. If you want to pop your question in the chat box, we'll relay it from there. But for the time being, we'll go to Simon Peach from Press Association.
Hi, Mason. I'm not sure whether you asked this at the start because you were on mute, but Declan Rice, whenever we speak to you, we talk about Declan Rice. He said he's in the room next door to you at the hotel. What's it like being away with your best mate at a major tournament about to represent your country? It's obviously not something many people will be able to achieve.
Yeah, he is staying next door, and every time he wakes up, he wakes up earlier than me, and he tries to knock on my door and wake me up to go breakfast every morning. So I might have to move a couple doors down so I'm not right next to him. But no, to have my best mate with me and to go through this experience with him and obviously all of the other boys as well, it means a lot, and it's something that it's very special to us and that we'll remember for a long time.
Okay, thanks, Simon. Next we'll go to Matt Reed from Kick.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Hi, Mason. I've spoken to a number of players over the years on the topic of motivation, what really drives them to go out and achieve. Now, you've already achieved a huge amount in a very short career. Some pros have stated that they are just never satisfied with what they've achieved, and that's what drives them on. Some talk about having a hatred of losing. What is it that motivates you to keep improving and fighting the way that you do?
Yeah, I think the two things you mentioned then is obviously a massive part of being a winner and doing big things in the sport. For us as a group, I spoke a little bit about it before, that we've never won a Euros in our history. So for us to do that, and that's motivation in itself. And obviously individually, just really trying to be at the top of our game to connect as a team and do the best we can and go as far as we can. So yeah, that's all the motivation we need, and going into the tournament.
Thanks, Matt. Next we'll go to David Alvarez.
Hi, Mason. How are you? What do you remember of the semi-final of the World Cup 3 years ago? Where were you? What feelings do you remember from watching that game? And how far did you feel then from where you are now, having won the Champions League, being with the national team and ready to go against Croatia again?
Yeah, I was very lucky enough to go out to Russia and watch one of the group games. So even to be around it and witness the atmosphere of a major tournament, I remember that very vividly. And then obviously watching the semi-final, I was at home, I think, with my family, watching that and obviously seeing Tripp score the free kick and then they score late on and win the game, it was heartbreak to watch, let alone be a player and be involved in it. But I think them kind of experiences and them kind of games give you that extra fire in the belly to want to put something right. And that's definitely something that's in our minds and going to rear us on to really perform like we know we can.
Thanks, David. Okay, that concludes the live section of this media conference. We'll now move on to a short section embargoed until 10:30 p.m. this evening, and we'll start with Ian Ladyman from the Daily Mail.
Hi, Mason. Hope you're well. I'm just returning briefly to a subject you touched on earlier about the Chelsea Academy. When you think about the way that you play, the way that you see football, the way you believe football should be played, the way you think about football, how much of that do you credit with the way you were brought up and drilled and educated at the Chelsea Academy?
Yeah, I think from a very young age, the training, the dedication, not just from myself, my family as well, was obviously very relentless and always had in my mind in training, trying to train like it's going to be my last session and give it everything every time. And I think that really helps if you're trying to get better as a player, and especially at that young age. I was never the biggest, never the strongest or quickest, but I think my work ethic and what I put in really helped me get better as a player, and it's helped me to get where I am now, definitely.
What about the way that you were told to play from a tactical point of view? Yeah,
it was, I think from a very young age it was very tactical. The focus wasn't always too much on winning. It was a lot about learning how to play in tough games or in different circumstances, how to swap formations or play in different positions. That was always something I remember playing in loads of different positions when I was younger and learning about what it takes to play in a right wing role or hold a midfielder or striker. I had a lot of experiences in them different formations and positions, so it really helps, and now I can feel like I can play in different positions, and I know how to adapt, and that helps when you're playing now.
Thanks, Ian. Next we'll go to Dan King from The Sun.
Just first quick one, Mason. Hope you're well. I know you were already in your 20s by then. 3 years ago when England lost, was it? Were you too old to be in tears about it, and if so, can you remember when you did cry at an England defeat?
I mean, I don't think you're ever too old to have a cry, especially when your country loses. I'm a fan, so to watch that, I was probably pretty close. Obviously, to witness England get to a final, it would have been unbelievable. So we was that close. But I can't. When I was last proper cried, I must have been quite young. I don't know if I knew what was quite going on. I probably saw my family crying, so I joined in. Yeah, it was, whenever you're watching your country play, you're very emotionally involved, and it means a lot.
So just one other thing, you'll be aware as a Chelsea fan that there are very few people who've ever won the European Cup and the Euros in the same year, but two of them were Torres and Mata back in 2012. Just your memory, whether you felt a bit proud for them, even though they were playing for Spain, and just, do you dare to dream about you, Reece, and Ben being able to join that very, very short list?
Yeah, it's a very rare occurrence, that. But obviously, I remember that Spain team and how dominant they were at that time. But yeah, we can always look forward and hope that this could happen. But yeah, it's obviously a very small list, but we'll see what happens.
Thanks, Dan. Okay, we've got 3 more to go. We're starting with Matt Law from The Telegraph. Sorry, Matt, you got some internet issues at your end. We'll jump to Jack Russell from The Standard and try Matt again after that.
Hi, Mason. just you spoke earlier about how the side now has the ability to keep the ball better and control the game. And touching a bit on what Ian was speaking about, do you feel that yourself and players like Phil Foden, there was a big push from England a while ago with the England DNA. Do you feel like you represent a sort of new generation of England players?
Yeah, I think obviously it's not just us that are technical players and can handle the ball. There's been in the past players that can handle the ball, but I think obviously at the moment there's probably a lot of the squad are very technical. Players that have had experience abroad, the boys coming from Germany, playing in that league, it's a very technical league, and obviously it's a couple from Spain as well, so it always helps when you have them experiences and play around that type of football. I played in Holland, and that was a very technical league, and I learned a lot from that experience as well. So we have players that can handle the ball and like to play that type of football, and that always helps.
Thanks, Jack. We'll jump back and try Matt Law once more. Matt, are you there?
I am, Mason. I think I should be all right now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, there we go.
Good stuff. I just wanted to, it was kind of two questions. One very short one. I was just wondered, with you talking about swapping shirts with Modric, whether as an England player you'll be allowed to swap shirts during this tournament. I know some managers like it and some managers don't. And then secondly, that trip in 2018 when you went over to Russia with Phil Foden and Ryan Sessegnon, and you were on the BBC set and you were going around sightseeing. You look at pictures now and you all look like quite little kids in that. And I just wondered if you could tell us a little bit more about that trip and whether you were sort of autograph hunting and things like that during it.
Yeah, about the shirts, I'm not too sure if we're allowed to swap or not, but I think I'll look to keep every single shirt I wear. Being the Euros, so I don't want to give them away. And the Russia trip, I look back at the pictures now and we all look so young. And yeah, I remember we was walking around the set. We did a little interview with Shearer and Lineker, I think it was, and we actually stumbled across Fabregas' desk. And we had a little chat with him in that, and he actually recognised me or remembered me from training at Chelsea. And yeah, obviously we know he's an absolute legend and what he's done in the sport. And for us to kind of have a little chat with him, and even with obviously Lineker and Shearer as well, it is special to be around them people and learn little bits from them. And yeah, it was a special trip, and we all very enjoyed it.
Thanks, Matt. And we'll finish with Andy Dunn from the Mirror.
Hi, Mason. It's just really a bit of a follow-on question to what Dan was asking you. You know, a couple of weeks ago, you won the Champions League final in front of probably about 6,000 or 7,000 Chelsea fans in the Dragao in Porto. We were there. It was a great occasion. Have you ever then thought about the picture of, 6 weeks further on, the possibility of England winning the Euros in a Wembley that might even be almost full? And can you imagine comparing the two and what that would feel like?
Yeah, I mean, you was at the final, and the atmosphere at that game, even though it wasn't full, packed out, was unbelievable. We've been obviously without fans for over a year until recently, and to have them back, even at a couple thousand, it's such a special atmosphere, and something that as players we thrive off and live off, playing in front of fans. And yeah, you always have that little think about what if and what could be later on down the line, when hopefully a packed out Wembley, playing in front of that would be unbelievable. So you do think about it, but for me, just staying focused on the next game in hand.
Okay, thanks Andy, and thanks everybody for joining us today. That concludes today's media activity.
Thank you.